Greetings, fellow humans, and welcome to A Tea with JD. It's been a while. I'm sure a couple of people are going to be happy that I'm having tea. I just put this in like less than a minute ago, so I'm going to let it steep. And this is going to be a long, waffly video, so if you're not in the mood for a long, waffly video, by all means, check something else out that I do. I'm going to do different things, but this will be a long, waffly video. Uh, Recently, I did a video of the reasons why I've been outside BookTube and whatnot, and a couple of other videos showing that I'm active on the BookTubes. By the way, if anyone is curious, the tea that I'm having is a heartwarming touch of organic rose, chamomile, and lavender. This is a beautiful gift from a friend from the UK, Karen Oren. She is a spectacular poet, someone I'm very fond of, and I'm fond of her entire family. She's good people. She's the one that actually motivated me to publish my poetry. Going back, I had mentioned that I did that video about, and I can expand on that. So expect me to expand on falling out of love with BookTube, or why I wasn't on BookTube or whatnot. I have several thoughts on it. They might or might not resonate. Not sure. But maybe it's just stuff that I have to get off my chest. And let's do a little Frodo T. Baggins. Okay. In that video, Amariska, a lovely friend from the BookTubes, suggested various topics. Picking a topic was a bit hard, but it's been a while since I talk about my work, so here's me doing basically an AuthorTube video. As in, where do I get the ideas for my books? At the moment, I have 12 published books. I have a 13th one that's written, and I'm trying to do something a bit different. I'm very happy with how it came out, but it will take a little while for reasons. But I want to talk about where I got the ideas for pretty much everything I've written or published so far, and the ones that I haven't published as well. Works in progress. Told you it's going to be a long, waffly video. But I'm dressed for the occasion and I have tea. Inspiration is a curious beast because it attacks whenever it wants, however it wants, and how often it wants. I have notebooks with ideas and ideas and ideas and loose ideas and different things. I basically vomit it on a piece of paper so I don't forget it. And I do it normally by hand. So if I lose those notebooks, some ideas might be lost. But odds are no. What would probably end up happening is that the idea resurfaces some way, like, hey, you didn't write me, which has happened before. But I digress. Let's start with poetry, which is a lot simpler to explain, and also explain my process of writing poetry. I'm a big fan of poetry. I have 6 poetry collections, 5 in English, 1 in Spanish. First collection, it's called Between the Tides. It has a subtitle. I forget the subtitle. You will forget the subtitle, so let's just stick to titles. Between the Tides. I describe it as life has ups and downs like the tides. And I wanted a collection that captured some of those highs and some of those lows and some of those moments where you question yourself, or moments where you actually find yourself, and also whimsical stuff thrown in. It has variety, but it is supposed to ebb and flow. As I continue to develop poetry collections, I will curate them more so that it feels even more cohesive and makes sense within the concept within that collection. Second collection is Dark Strands. I wanted to do something short but elegant and dark to show that there's beauty in darkness. And basically that's the exploration of everything. Whether it's something sad or something kind of creepy, I wanted it to be beautiful. So that was the concept within that one. And complicated. It's a fairly short poetry collection. I don't even remember the final page count, but it's not long, and I recognize it's not long. But I busted my ass to make it worth your money and your time, so that when you read it now and you read it in a year, there's something different. The third one is captured moments. Captured moments is more going back to between the titles. It was ups and downs. Captured moments is capturing snippets of life, different things. Sometimes it's really cheeky. Sometimes it's kind of controversial. I wanted it to be more of a social commentary in that one. Black Tie Affair. I wanted a poetry collection that felt like it was read by Tom Waits, and is better enjoyed with bourbon or whiskey. I wanted it dark. I wanted it more mature. I wanted it more adult. I wanted it to echo or have flavors of Bukowski without being Bukowski. Being Hank is. I don't wish that upon anyone, and although I love his poetry, I don't want to emulate him, and I want to search what's in my noggin and in my gut and in my soul. The last English poetry collection is Roulette of Rhymes. Roulette of Rhymes is me pushing myself as much as possible in terms of diversity and variety. There's some really short poems, and the longest poem I've published is there. Actually, and also from Dark Strands, the most complicated poem I've ever written is there. The rhyme scheme for Miranda and the Broken Ghost is Abacadabra, and it is 8 stanzas, 9 lines to a stanza, and it's a pain in the ass. I love it. I think I did limit myself a bit because of that rhyme scheme, and it's something I'm not gonna revisit that poem. That poem is what it is, and I pushed it as much as I think I could. For further poems, I'm gonna be more flexible in that, which is what I did with The Madness of Jonathan J. George, which is available in Roulette of Rhymes. It's the last one. It's an epic poem. It's eight movements, 100 lines to a movement. Each one has its own style and rhyme scheme and tone and whatnot. It's an exploration of madness, so. And in Roulette of Rhymes, I wanted to push myself in terms of diversity. So you're going to see some things that are like a slap in the face and others that are like a hug. And you'll see an epic 800-line poem. So that's for English poetry. Spanish poetry is Pensando en Metáforas. Pensando en Metáforas. It's a fulfillment of a promise to Mom. She wants me to write more in Spanish, and I will write more in Spanish, but not just to cater to my mom's interests, but because lately the bug is biting, and I will respond. It's a very personal collection. It's not that long either, but it's not as short as Dark Strands. And I wanted to show how my brain and how my words work in Spanish. My English brain and my Spanish brain, although I share the same soul, they're two different brains. And what entices me to write in one language is not necessarily what I'm enticed to write in the other language. It's very particular. It's a very personal, very human, very intimate collection of poems. A lot of them were written while Mom was having surgery. The first time that she was getting surgery, I was writing that, and the second time that she had surgery, I was reading Discworld, the first book, and Pixie Piper, The Adventures of Pixie Piper, by Maricel Jimenez. I don't know why in one I needed to write and the other one I needed to read, but that's how I'm built. And that's poetry. Going to the bilingual collection, which is, if you speak English and Spanish, honestly, that's the book I'd like you to check out to see what you think. I'm really proud of that collection. It's 20 pieces in English, 20 pieces in Spanish. It's called 2020. And it's reflections. I wanted to show reflections of living a bilingual life. In the middle, the English section is separated from the Spanish section with a bilingual poem, which starts off English, then English-Spanish, then English, Spanish, English, Spanish, then Spanish, English, Spanish, English, then English, Spanish, then Spanish, Spanish. And it all rhymes in both languages, and I'm really proud of that piece and a lot of pieces in that one. I think that one really allows you to see how I differ from one language to the other. I think the fantastical elements that I bring in my English stories has a very different flavor from what I bring in Spanish. It includes, on the English side, I think my favorite story there is Journeyman, which is about a boxer um, that should be retired. It feels a bit like The Wrestler. Think of it that way. Um, and on the Spanish side, there is a story called Cambio de Carril. Cambio de Carril is young man is stuck in traffic in Puerto Rico. If you've ever been stuck in traffic in Puerto Rico, you know how pleasant people can be. They won't let you pass, and he's trying to get to the exit, and people won't let him pass, and he finds out that something happened in his family. So I wanted that to show how I think and how I feel in English and Spanish, and that was a concept within that one. I'm getting to the better ones, in the sense that the ones that you have to dig a lot deeper, or it's not just a short story or whatnot. I'm a big fan of boxing, although I haven't been watching a lot of boxing for a while now. I don't know why, but I'm weird. That's why I wrote Journeyman, and Cambio de Carril was something that hit home a bit because it's kind of about dad. So for writing out loud, the first nonfiction I released this year is based off my blog. Basically, there's no concept there in the sense that what I write nonfiction is to try to have a positive impact, and that's the sole purpose of the blog, or well, yeah, in some way or another, yeah. So I took the blog post from the first 4 years, I dumped it in a document, and I started to work on it to make sense, to read it, to see what goes with what, and make different blocks. Let me see if I have the sections here. See, there's a couple of sections. One is steps in life, which is something I actually have to write about. There's two pieces there, 100 steps and 200 steps about me taking steps with my eyes closed on the beach alone and just walking that distance. Just because I wanted to feel kind of what my grandmother felt. She was also blind, and also to face certain fears because we take for granted the sight that we have. Happiness for the win, the power of kindness, thoughts on identity, musings on beauty and life, slices of motivation, rants in Estrada, Estrada minor, the joys of being a geek, taking a stance, opinions based on values, deeper thoughts on life, life thoughts or what I write on my birthdays, and my journey. A lot of what I write in that blog is me coping with life and what I need to read at any given moment, as in, or to tell myself. And the other nonfiction book I did is the closing of all my videos, Peace, Love, and Maki Rules. It's something I've been saying for a long while, over 13 years, something like that. In some way, shape, or form. So, after Hurricane Maria, I needed to do something positive with all the emotions I had, all the pain, all the anger, all the anguish. So, this is my nonfiction. It is Peace, Love, and Maki Rules, a guide to creative kindness, because I think people limit themselves in terms of how they can be kind. And I will read off the chapters. I will do a video specifically on this, and I'll dive deeper in this, but the chapters. Emotional alchemy, creative kindness, there are no problems, only situations. Learn more by judging less, the healing power of food. Explore your inner topography, find your faith, cultivate your fields of knowledge, thoughts and actions. Listen instead of just waiting for your turn. Teamwork teaches creative kindness. Own your faults while rising above them. Do good, damn it. Don't waste creativity on excuses. Manners can change the world, and define yourself. It's kind of self-helpish, and I really, the intent with this, or the concept with this, is I wish upon people peace, love, and good food. And I think we can be kinder. I think people take for granted how powerful kindness can be, and how much it can change a life and save a life. Then, diving into fiction, there are the Daydreams on the Sherbet Shore, a project I'm extremely fond of, and I'm working on the second volume. There are three short stories in that collection that are already written. There's a fourth one that's about halfway, and I need a fifth one. When I say I need a fifth one, is that I want a fifth one, but I've convinced myself that I need one. What are the Daydreams on the Sherbet Shore? All of us are connected by the world of dreams, which is the lucid. Within the lucid, there is a one particular dream country called Daydreams. Are you with me so far? These are very whimsical stories, really random, and the idea for this actually came from a conversation with with Claudette. Claudette is one of the characters in the book, and she's a friend from Twitter, and she's great, and she's a lot of fun. I like her books. She does short $5 books that are completely worth your time, with good cheeky artwork. What happened to my voice there? I don't know. We had a random conversation, and I told her, I'm going to make short stories of this, because I am. And she was like, go for it. And I did. And it began being whimsical and dreamy and whatnot, and it became get well letters in some way or shape or form. There's different concepts, and then a friend of mine was really ill. She had two different surgeries, and recuperation was not easy. So I wrote a short story based on her recovery, and making an analogy of her travels with her recovery, and it felt right. So I continued to do it, and now pretty much the Daydreams are me taking the opportunity to hang out with people that I normally couldn't hang out with, and that I think need a smile. They're modern day bedtime stories, so that you can disconnect and be a bit more chill, because the news, oof. And then the human cycle. I have only human in shadow of a human. This began with me on a desk. I was on the computer, I was watching TV, I had music on, and I was chatting, and then I see a commercial for Underworld, and I say, I can write something better than that. That's the genesis. And then I start to do research, and research, and research, and research, and it went from, if you read the book, or when you read the book, you should read the book, and if you read it, you should review it. But it's always going to be something really special for me. I'm going to keep writing my ass off, but this will always be really special for me, because there's a chapter, a turning point in this book, where I stop trying to impress you with words, and just I find my voice as an author, and the story really takes off. It was a really interesting experience for me as a writer, and as a human. And so it began like that, and I wanted to take the hero's journey and kind of flip it a bit. I wanted the hero to be expendable. I mean, he continues to be expendable. Or the protagonist, not the hero. And I wanted to explore humanity through fiction. I'm a big fan of mythology, I'm a big fan of folklore, I'm a big fan of fiction and different things. And I like vampires, but I think there have been a lot of vampires that have been questionable. That sparkle too much for my good taste. But to each their own. If someone's reading that, they're reading, so I will encourage that 1,000-fold. So I wanted to see how much the protagonist would be willing to sacrifice his humanity to save humanity. And that's always going to be the thing. He's always on the verge of losing his humanity. What makes us human? And then I did research on religions and how religions and territories and topography and socio-cultural contexts define places. Then I looked at a world map, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do this just here, or just there. I'm not gonna go to England where everything happens. It's not gonna be New York City. And actually, the first couple of chapters they take place stateside, but it's nondescript on purpose. I don't want people to even care, because once you cross the Atlantic, which is in terms of timing in the writing, it's very interesting because I'm getting to the point where I'm about to really discover my voice. I just didn't realize it, and then I read it and I go like, that's the point. That's crazy. So I look at a map, and if they cross the Atlantic Ocean, the most interesting entrance would be through the Mediterranean. They would go to Spain. From Spain, where would they go? They would go to France. What folklore does France have? They have a lot of werewolves. Then dig deep down that rabbit hole for research. I get it, and then I flesh out pretty much most of the story, and then I go like, okay, wait, but we can find more stuff. So we go from there. We go to Crete. We go from Crete to Egypt to Alexandria. We go up the Nile. We go to Eritrea. We go to the Red Sea. We go to Djibouti. We go to off the coast of Sri Lanka, and we end up in Myanmar to give you an idea of the places that you will visit. I did research. I think I could have even gone deeper, but at least people from some of the places that I wrote, they say that's pretty accurate. And then I flip it for Shadow of a Human in certain things, and then I'm going to flip it further for book 3. Because the first book is mostly focused on how the physical changes of Nathaniel. Nathaniel Reynolds is a reporter. He hates his job. He's jaded as hell. He gets abducted, realizes it's a vampire. The vampire says, "We need you to save the world." He kind of freaks out, and Daniel is a vampire. Daniel says, "If this is an issue, I can just eat you. I really have no time to waste." So he's off to save the world. But it's focused on humanity in terms of body and hints of other things. But the focus is on body and how we can unlock different things within ourselves through our body. Be it meditation or yoga or chiropractic or acupuncture or different things. I do believe that we have a world within that we should explore more, and that's just body. Being mindful of your body is a really interesting experience, and I'm not going to say that I'm super aware of everything of my body, but as time passes and I've gotten injured, I've had to become more aware of what my body's doing. So then, okay, so if this is the body, and this is the mind, this is Shadow of a Human. And I explored a lot of topics in psychology, specifically archetypes, the shadow figure, the shadow self, and the collective subconscious, as proposed by Carl Jung. Because from all the psychologists I've read, he's probably my favorite. Probably because of style and personality. It's not that he did some stuff. I won't go in depth, but I don't know. I like him. And I still like his writing. The translation of his writing. And so it's the exploration of that and different. I wanted to dig deeper into the psyche and explorations of how we see ourselves in the mirror and our inner selves, in the sense that for me, an inner female, for a woman, their inner male, their inner child, and different aspects of that. And it was really interesting. And now for book three, I'm exploring a lot more in terms of soul. So, and it's gonna, each one harkens and does little tributes to different works, and this one's definitely gonna be influenced by the Divine Comedy, because the Divine Comedy and probably Faust. I think that one is also letting itself be heard by Goethe. Um, it's a really dark book, but it's really good. And those are where those ideas come from. The book that I just finished, that I'm doing a couple of things, and hopefully it all works out well in the end. It's about a boy who dreams about flying, and I wanted to be as creative and as Miyazaki as I could about that book. I have the proof. It's gorgeous. I'm not going to show it yet. I will show it soon. Apart from that, I do have other concepts, other works in progress that are there. But there's always a story behind the story of where it comes from, or different things. I'm working on two very big concepts, actually three. One big concept, a second pretty big concept, and a third huge one. The first concept is a multi-novel. It's going to be 4 novels. It's post-apocalyptic, but should be more hopeful. Try to imagine post-apocalyptic with some elements like Zelda, Skyward Sword, and stuff like that. That's what I'm going to be aiming for. Concepts are being written down, characters are being written down. Every time I get an idea, jot down. The second concept is me wanting to explore magic, and it's not going to be Harry Potter. It's going to be dark as hell. It's going to be like magic noir. Let's call it that. And it's going to be very robust, but not as robust as the last project. The last project, I got it in my crazy head that I wanted to combine basically 3 universes. So I will have 19 books in it, and the idea is to write all of that in one go and release it in one go. So obviously going to be tinkered and tweaked, and it's going to take me a long time, but it's something that I feel within that I need to do. And those are just some of the ideas that I do. Where else do I get ideas? I watch stuff, I read stuff. I love random research. You get story ideas by seeing something on Pinterest or watching a documentary. And I think it merits its own video. So next T4JD will be about me and the things that I use for inspiration. How's that? If there's any topics that you'd like to suggest, by all means, check that sexy comment section down below. Give it some company. If you want to find me in different social media, all the links are down below. I always include the links. I rarely say it. If you want to support my writing, by all means, there's several options. First option would be to buy my books through Libro 787 if you don't speak Spanish, because the website is only available in Spanish. If you have PayPal and live stateside, I will gladly prepare an Estrada crate. I will include the link down below to what an Estrada crate is. But so you have an idea, I have one semi-prepared. Loot crate. Well, I do. Estrada crate. I take different boxes from different things. I recycle the boxes, and I try to recycle all the packaging material, because I think that's an important message to send. I think there are beautiful boxes out there, but I'm not looking for a beautiful box. I'm trying to clean up stuff and be more practical and promote more recycling. If you have PayPal, write me a comment. We'll get in touch elsewhere, and we can do it that way. Or you can go to Amazon. It's the easiest. It's not the one that I'm most thrilled about, because they want to conquer the world, and although they've made it possible for me to publish, there are some things that are kind of questionable. Still, it's available. My books are available on Kindle and paperback form. And yeah, that's about it. If you like this video, comment, like, subscribe, join the booktube. If you think someone might enjoy my rambling, pass them along. If you think they would like to see me drink tea and just waffle on, it's been half an hour. Waffle on. And if not, regardless, I wish you well, and obviously, peace, love, and maki rolls.